Welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my May TBR. This is a very exciting month. The first half of the month, I'm just going to be doing some regular reading. The second half of the month, I am actually co-hosting a readathon that is hosted by Books for Ever After. It's called the Ever After Readathon. It's historical romance based. I'll have her announcement video linked down below in the description, as well as mine. And you can check that out. It's got bingo boards and prompts. It's going to be a lot of fun sprints. Tons of fun. That's happening starting the 17th of May, so I will be participating in that. I'll let you know the books I think I might try to read for the readathon. And then I'm going to go over first the books that I'm currently reading, what I want to pick up next, and then we'll go over the readathon. So I am in a little bit of a slump. Okay. Hi, hello, I'm Hannah. Oh, also, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Slump and all, go ahead and click the subscribe button, and you can click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post new videos. Click the like button too to help my channel grow, and comment down below. Let me know if you're participating in the readathon, and or let me know what books you're really excited to read in May. I'm in a little bit of a slump. Part of it is that we have just started homeschooling, and we are going to be doing year-round homeschool. And so that's just been a little bit busy. So there's that. But there is also just, I don't know, another slump apparently. I was out of it. I was reading for a couple weeks and things kind of got chaotic. I read a book specifically called The Need that really threw me into a slump. It was pretty traumatic experience for me actually reading it. Looking back, I read it in a day. Looking back, I just shouldn't have read it. I should have put it down and stopped. And that was pretty hard for me. That was a really hard book to read as a mother of two young children. So yeah, I've been slumping. Needless to say, I won't be reading horror for a little bit. I'm going to be sticking, I think, with some books that will get me back into reading. So there are some KU books. There are some physical books I have. I'm feeling romance and fantasy, which y'all know is my bread and butter anyway. So give me the romance, give me the fantasy. That's what I want, and I don't want anything too dark. So I do have one dark book on this TBR, and that is trying to fulfill the first page of prompts for the readathon, which is a little bit, that's definitely the hardest page because there's just the 5 prompts, but it's doable. There's lots of options for you, but just there's a book that I think would work really well for getting, I think, 3 prompts on that board. I'm not positive that I want to read. Anyway, it's a bit of a darker book, so we'll see if that happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't need to wipe out the bingo board. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to do that. I can just have fun and read historical romance. The big thing is basically to avoid going into another slump, to try to work myself back into reading again, because it's really important for my mental health. To be honest, reading is a very important aspect of my mental health wellness. So is the garden. There's just certain things that are really good for me and my mental health. Anyway, one of them is my morning coffee. So let's get into the books that I'm going to start the month with. Well, okay, no. First, let's get into the books I'm currently reading. Okay, so I'm currently reading Beast or The Beast. I'm not sure what it's called. I'll pop it up right here. But I'm reading that. It's by Katie Robert. That's the 4th book in the Wicked Villain series. I'm reading this because this is slump proof. And I'm still only able to read like 10 or 15 pages a day in that book. So that tells you something. But I'm still reading it. I am reading it. This is like fantasy. No, it's not even fantasy. So it's based on the villains and the princesses and the Disney princesses. So the first book is like Jasmine with Jafar. The second book is with Hades, Hercules, and Megara. And that's a throuple. The third book is Tink and Huck. And this one is Beast, Gaston, and Belle. So another throuple, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's just an easy read, and it's helping me kind of get into the mode of reading again. I'm also reading a book about Waldorf education. If you're interested, I will pop it up right here. The homeschool style and the style at home that we have has always been kind of Waldorf leaning, and I'm just learning more about that. I'm not going to be, I don't think, prescribing to any one homeschool or educational philosophy or strategy. It's kind of a mixture. I do some Montessori shelf work. We do a lot of Waldorf inspired rhythms and circle time and some other stuff mixed in too. And that's just fine. But I do want to know more about Waldorf because that is definitely the education style that I lean the most towards. That's just a personal tidbit, I guess. So I'm reading that. So what am I wanting to pick up next? So I think the next book I want to pick up is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I've never read anything by this author before. She wrote the Bridge Kingdom series that I know a lot of people are really into. I think there's 4 books in that set of 3 duologies, I believe. And a lot of people like it. There's 2 more books, I believe, that are coming out. But this one is Viking inspired. And as far as I know, it's very, very heavily Viking inspired, which I'm very excited for because I love Viking mythology. I love Norse mythology. I love all of that. It's really interesting to me. So I'm excited. This is a kind of a forbidden romance. I believe this is about Freya and her stepson. Creepy. But I think this is like her husband's son and their romance. She has a drop of goddess blood and she's been forced to open up about that, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. This sounds really good. I'm very excited about it. Something that I think that I could get really into and might help me get out of my reading slump. And then I also have 2 other physical fantasy books that I'm interested in. One might be a surprise to you, and that is Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Tawny Man trilogy. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Hannah, you're in a reading slump. Why would you put Robin Hobb on your TBR? Yeah. Her books are hard to get through. I adore them. Most of them have been 5 stars. They're the kind of things, kind of like certain classics, right? Where they just stick with you. They make an impression, but you might not get through them quickly. They're very character driven and slow paced, but the world building is just so lovely that I can get lost in it. And I really, really enjoy her books. And that's part of why I want to pick up one of her books. I really want a classic fantasy feel right now. Another one is because I think it might be an easier read, easier win, because I am actually, you can see this is where I am right now. So I'm actually over halfway through with this book already. So if I pick it back up, I think it might be an easier win for me. So a win-win situation. When you are in a slump, it's easy to, it can be helpful to really try to get the ball rolling and finish books. And to feel the success of finishing such a behemoth as a Robin Hobb book will be boosting to my confidence and probably a big dopamine kick. So I think this could be good for me. If you've never heard of this series, this is actually the 3rd series in the realm of the Elderlings. I suggest starting with the Fitz and the Fool series. Not the Fitz and the Fool, I'm sorry. I suggest starting with the Farseer trilogy. The first one is Assassin's Apprentice, and I absolutely adore that book. My dad actually just finished the series. I gifted it to him, the first book, a couple years ago, and I've been gifting the books to him ever since. And he flew through the whole series in probably less than 2 years. So good for him. He really loves it. He really, really loves it. So I'm really happy about that. I've been still continuing to chug along alongside of him. He kind of like caught up and then surpassed me. So I'd like to make another dent in this series. That'd be a good time. If you've never picked up a Robin Hobb book and you are an epic fantasy fan, I highly, highly recommend picking up Robin Hobb. And then another one that I think might be a little bit easier is an epic fantasy that I feel is very seasonal for this time of year, and that is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I think this is told as in a fun storytelling format, which I like that. I really do. Almost not a fairy tale, but almost like that. And this is about a pirate, a famous pirate. And her name is Amina Al-Sarafi, and she has to get the band back together for a final mission. And I really, really enjoy Shannon Chakraborty's writing. I liked the Daevabad trilogy a lot, and this takes place in the same world, which is kind of like a historical, it's basically set in our world, historical, but make it fantasy. So think urban fantasy, how that is, where it's like often set in our world, but with magical powers, but except for historical. Okay, so it's inspired by our world, but it's changed a bit. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be really magical and adventurous and a fun time. It's going to be May, and I'm getting into those like summertime feels. So I really kind of I'm feeling the pirate vibe. So I want to read things set on the water right now. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my TBR for the readathon, and then I'll talk about a couple of ebooks I think I might pick up. So for the readathon, for the first page 1 of the prompts, I think I'm going to be reading Sea of Ruin. Okay, so this is going to cover a Books Forever After favorite, a dark historical, and I will see about it covering a book that's set in Hawaii, Portugal, Spain, or Puerto Rico. This, I know, part of it takes place in the Caribbean, and Puerto Rico is in the Caribbean. So does that count? It might be a stretch. I probably won't be submitting my bingo board for a prize, because we'll see if I finish one, given my reading slump. But so it might. We'll have to find out. But so this definitely covers 2 prompts on the first board, and you have to have 3 prompts per page on your bingo board. The first page just has the 5 prompts. And so those are the ones I'm going to try to cover. I don't know if this actually would count as Puerto Rico, given it takes place in the Caribbean. I don't know. And then for the second page, I have a pirate romance. I forgot to tell you what this is about. So this is a pirate romance. It's a dark romance by Pam Godwin. I think that it's queer as well. I don't know anything else. I know it's very dark. I know there's a lot of trigger warnings. That's why I'm a little bit iffy about whether I'm going to read it. It's going to depend on my mood. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and find out. Right now, I don't know if I can handle anything dark, but so I've heard amazing things. If you like dark romance and you are okay with some very dark themes, generally people really enjoy this book. But I think, once again, like I said, it's going to depend on my mood. If you are interested in that book, make sure you check the triggers. So the second page of prompts, I'm going to be going for maybe a pirate romance, a BIPOC author, and then, I don't know, is there a grumpy and broody hero? I'm not sure, but that's really the only one I think I can cover on this page with this one. And I don't think I'm going to be able to fit more than 3 historical romances on my TBR. So we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, this one looks really good. I've not read anything in this series. I've read a book by Beverly Jenkins before, but I've not read any in the series. This is the second book in the series, I believe, and I think the female is a pirate. I think they're both pirates. It says Noah Yates fully believes in the joys of a happy family and a good wife, but that's not the life for him. No, he'd much rather sail the wild seas in search of adventure, not tied down. Then the unthinkable that happens. He finds himself literally tied down to a bed by a woman. Pilar isn't just an ordinary woman. She's descended from pirates. And after giving him one of the worst nights in his life, she steals his ship. Now, maybe this one takes place in Puerto Rico. I don't know. So, some of this too, like whether or not I can hit hit 9 squares will just depend on like what I find out after I read the books, right? So, and finally, I have the book I'm going to be reading for mostly you can jump across boards. Like a book doesn't have to only be covering prompts on 1 page, okay? But that's just what I'm looking at right now. So this one I think would cover most of the would cover a bunch of prompts on the 3rd page. This is a clinch cover. It's underrated, less than 2,000 reviews, and it was published before 2000. And this is Virginia Henley's The Raven and the Rose. This book is absolutely stunning, and it's a medieval fantasy or medieval romance. And I love medieval. So I think this one's going to be a good time. I don't know much about it other than it's Virginia Henley is a very well-known historical romance author. My guess is a lot more people than under 2,000 have read this book, but a lot of people that read this it was probably before Goodreads existed. And they haven't, gotten Goodreads since and updated it or something like that, because she's a very well-known and popular historical romance author. But technically on Goodreads, there are less than 2,000 reviews, so it definitely counts. And I love this cover so much. It's definitely a clinch cover. It's gorgeous. and it's medieval, and I'm very excited for it. Okay, so those are the physical books that I think might be on my TBR. Okay, once again, I mean, you'll know with my TBRs, this is not a guarantee. Those I'm interested in. I'm also really interested in To Ravish a Rogue by Sam Niscosta. This is a monster romance that is inspired by Gentle Rogue by Joanna Lindsay, and it's a pirate romance. And I think the hero has tentacles of some sort, and I love Sam Niscosta. She just writes really fun monster romances that are a good time, and that's what I need. Something fun and easy to get through and just enjoyable, fast-paced, and I'm in the mood for pirates, so that one is definitely a possibility. And another one is another book that was on my spring TBR. If I can find it, it's Readathon by L.A. Holloway. Yeah, Holloway. This is about a alien planet where there's like a forest god, and I'm thinking like the Ents from Lord of the Rings. Like he's giant, like a giant tree creature. And then she's like a scientist who's doing work on the planet, trying to learn more about species there, I believe. And it's their romance. I don't know how it's gonna work. The size difference seems inconceivable, but it looks like a lot of fun. And it's on my spring TBR, and it's quite short. It's 150 pages, so that definitely seems like it could be a really good, fun, doable book for me in May. So those are the two books that I think I might read. Those are the two ebooks that I think I could read in May. So these are 8 books total. We'll see if 8 books is a little bit challenging for me for while I'm in a reading slump, but we'll see, because I also can just all of a sudden get out of a reading slump, and I've been known to read 30 books in a month. So I might read a lot more than this, or I might only read like 2 of these. We will have to see. I hope I can get out of my reading slump. I have a lot of things I would like to read, and reading, like I said, is really great for my mental health. I hope I can. Like I said, it's a mixture of a slumpiness, and it's a mixture of having a lot going on between getting the garden in, which is, it's almost all the way in, but we do have a few more weeks of work to do to get everything fully in, and then the homeschool starting, our homeschool year starting, and then a little bit of slumping. So we'll see. I will keep you guys updated. Once again, if you are interested in the readathon, all the information will be linked down below in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button if you like this video. Comment down below. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what books you think I should prioritize. Let me know if you're participating in the readathon. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.